Hey guys, welcome back to another interview that I got to do at Ecchi Expo 2021. This time it is with Donnie, the founder and CEO of Kaijucore. Met him on Friday, asked him if he'd be interested in doing a little interview for us because I thought it was really interesting, the things that he was telling us at the bar. And I feel like if anybody's interested in raves at anime conventions, which have become a staple of anime conventions for as long as who knows. But he talks a little bit about what Kaijucore is, why they got into it. Their next upcoming event is at Otaku Overload, where they're bringing down Teddy Loid. If you want to figure out how they got Teddy Loid to come down, he gets even more into a bunch of things that I really like, that I thought was really cool. And after going to the rave hosted by Bishojo Mom and Midna Ash, it was a blast. Had a great time. Loved the DJs that I got to see. I wasn't there from the very beginning, but I stuck there until the end. Shoutouts to Trill Nye and Kawaii Club. And without further ado, here is the interview. Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm here at Ecchi Expo, first year here in Austin. And I'm sitting here with, I don't know exactly what he does. I met him at a bar yesterday, at the hotel bar. But I know that he is in charge of, or I guess, organizing the Kaijucore, the people that are here running the rave tonight. But could you tell us a little bit more of what you do and what Kaijucore is?
Sure. Yeah, my name is Donnie, and I am the CEO and founder of Kaijucore Entertainment. We were founded and established in 2018, and basically our goal in mind is to preserve an otaku nightlife culture within DFW and beyond, which is where we're based at. We try to spread out as much as we can through Texas, as much as we're allowed to. But we typically do, like I said, otaku nightlife parties, which center around DJs, performers, engagements for our customers and our guests that come in, for kind of like that general 18 plus crowd. And we keep it as general as we can as far as theme goes for all otakus. Sometimes we do specific themes, whether it be like lewd or it be isekai or it be anything of the sorts that may be a current trending theme in anime and pop culture. And beyond that, we also do our after parties for conventions. Some conventions do reach out to us to help take care of their nightlife program, which is basically literally just their rave or after party and the screening room for anime that they ask us to watch over while that's going on. So we're here right now at Ecchi Expo. We're going to be doing the rave for 2 nights. We did it last night, and it actually went off pretty good. We left a pretty good impression on the people that did come, and then we're going to be doing it tonight as well. We have 4 different DJs. We have one from New York, we have one from Dallas, and then we have 2 from Houston. One of those is a DJ that we also manage, because we also do artist concierge as far as agency work. We do source out different anime centric artists that we have a couple across the country to other people that do otaku events, just so that we can make it possible and affordable and feasible for them to continue doing this as well. Because if this is something that others are interested in, we want to be able to kind of circulate that convenience for everybody, so that we can grow this even further as a whole.
And you mentioned some of the people that are coming down here that are from out of state. I know that yesterday when we were talking, one of my friends brought up an event that you're actually running in, it was in Dallas, right?
Yeah.
Where
so we had an event in Dallas. I think you're probably referencing. There were some folks that actually flew down here down to Austin from Orlando. Then the reason they flew down is because they saw one of our DJs, Kawaii Club, based in Houston, Texas. He performed in Orlando for our Otaku Overload event. I think that was September 11th. He performed, and there were some technical difficulties at the show, but he actually ended up playing for almost 2 hours and left a really good impression on our Orlando base, which is something that we've been doing, that we started since the summer. So they actually came out here just to see him and see the rest of the other DJs that we bring out. So that was a really good indication that we left a good impression on them to want to go so far as to come out here on a whim, because the con was only 2 weeks after our event that we did in Orlando.
And was there something I'm assuming you like going out dancing, doing all that stuff. And was there like anything in particular that made you want to like organize a group like this that does events and stuff?
Yeah, so before I started doing Kaijucore, I was actually a part of another collective that's centered in Colorado, and I was their Texas chapter. We were mostly focused on specific genres of music, whether it be like hard dance, happy hardcore, hard style, up tempo, or drum and bass. And I was doing events in Dallas with under them as well. Eventually, I decided to grow and branch out into doing something else, which is what Kaijucore became. We were focused around a more general, broader selection of music, and also gearing towards the anime crowd and the otaku crowd, trying to introduce them to the music that we put out. So it's not just like, we don't just do like top 40. We'll do a mix of different like remixes. Like we'll throw in like, we'll say, okay, here's this cool beat that is like over Hachima or Pecora or something like that,
And it's awesome. Like I've heard some of the people that you work with, just because like when I was researching the event, I saw the people that you had there, and then I saw like some other that are associated with you, like through your SoundCloud and stuff. And that's just a big tangent that leads to nowhere. But I did want to ask you, like, how did you get into anime yourself? It's like a question that I like asking people, because like different people that live in different areas and that are like different ages always have like just cool stories or something that I hadn't heard before.
Well, I originally got into anime just the same as a lot of people of my generation. I ended up watching Adult Swim, I have like a couple of older animes that aren't really, they're kind of like, oh, you're into that one, everyone's into that one, but still the same. My favorite anime is Fooly Cooly. But before that, I would really watch anything that was like a fantasy, like monsters. So I would watch like Pokemon, Digimon, Yu-Gi-Oh! Like I said, anything that's monster related, and a couple of different things that weren't related to that, like Fooly Cooly, or like Gurren Lagann, or like a little bit of Zatch Bell. I used to watch a lot of Zatch Bell as well. So I had always been into anime, and then I eventually, discovered anime clubs in high school and when I was going to community college, and then I eventually discovered anime conventions. And I took my interest in anime conventions and my interest in the specific music that I liked, which was hard dance and happy hardcore, and I found the conventions raves. And I had been going to those since like I was 16. So from there, when I became 18, I started going to actual events that were held at, like bars and clubs and such. And there was something different about those, obviously, that I didn't get from the, that I did get from the convention shows, that I didn't get from the bars. So I was trying to figure out what exactly that was. So I thought to myself, eventually after so many years forming Kaijucore, I was like, okay, what if there was some way that I could bring the convention crowd into an actual slightly more convenient, or I guess some people might say professional, like place, like like a venue, like some kind of bar or a concert area. And that's what that's a part of what Kaijucore focuses around, and that's where I guess you could say like the what we build on does come from like my background in anime and me wanting to fuse these things together and like make a bridge between these things, because it just as a means to expose anime fans to a lot of EDM music, a lot of dance music, to further create a place where they feel like they can express themselves. That's not just a con. That's some place that they can just go once a night, or like once a week or once a month or whatever, just so they can express themselves and have fun the same way that they have fun with their friends at a convention.
And it's funny that you mentioned like the atmosphere that's at Anime Raves, because before I started, like I grew up dirt poor, had no money, and also lived far away from like any big city. So when I finally had money, had a means of like convenience, I was like 20, and I traveled to my first anime convention, and I saw that they had a rave, and I was like, what? There are raves at these things? Right. And the more you go, the more you realize, oh, it's kind of like oddly it became a staple of like anime conventions themselves. And I love that they happen all the time. But like, do you think it's just like the people's interests just kind of intertwine in like a perfect kind of way where like raves and anime conventions just kind of like mesh together, or what do you think? Like, why do you think that's like a thing?
So I do think that there are actually 12 variables that come into why these after parties and these raves or these these night shows became a staple for conventions. A lot of the people that are into that kind of grungy or old school classic or techno or whatever kind of music it was really booming several years ago, there is a crossover where those people also enjoy anime, and there is, like, again, on the other side, there's people that really hardcore enjoy anime but might not know where else to go besides a convention after party. So I really think like I said, there's many variables. A lot of directors may feel like it's necessary for a lot of people to want to blow off steam, because most of the times, when you go to a convention, people are hanging out in the lobby or in the hallways wanting to hang out with their friends and party, and I think a lot of these dancers are just a means for people to be able to blow off steam after being out all day, or maybe not even being out all day, just trying to just trying to go somewhere at night where they know they can see their friends, because there are a couple people that go to almost every single con they can within their state, that they see their friends at these convention after parties. So Kaijucore, what we do is that we try to make it so these events, it's funny, I use a little slogan. I try to make it to where the after party doesn't become an afterthought. We try to make it as convenient as possible and as welcoming as possible, as diverse as possible, and as engaging as possible, so that people actually want to go, and that these conventions keep doing them, so that they just become another quality part, and they stay consistently a quality aspect of a convention.
And what events do you have coming up? I know yesterday we talked about, I don't know if you could say more or anything, or if you want to comment about it. I forget exactly what brought it up, but I know that you have Teddy Loid flying out for one of these events, and that's a pretty big deal. I mean, like, what events do you have coming up that you want to like tell people about? And also, like, how did you manage to get these connections to bring like somebody, I guess in my opinion, when I think of Teddy Loid, he's like a big deal. And I don't know who else like you've worked with that is also like a bigger name out there. But what events do you have coming up, and how did you get the connections to bring those people out?
I'll answer the second question first about the connections. So like I said, I've been connected with a lot of different DJs over the course of my career, as far as being interested in this type of music. And as far as, like I said again, about overlap, there's a lot of overlap between the hard dance scene that I used to be really interested in and the anime and cosplay scene, as far as DJs, that I am interested in now. A lot of the con DJs and a lot of the people that organize the dances for a lot of the cons across the country all know each other as well. So there is a small community in that aspect. As far as the Teddy Loid show that you mentioned, I've known his manager for about a year and a half, maybe 2 years. I actually got to open for Teddy Loid a couple years ago at a convention in Oregon. I think that's where I initially met his manager. His manager is actually the one that sources a lot of the talent, a lot of the Japanese talent for a lot of conventions across the country. I know you've probably heard of like Do As Infinity or Akime, or probably heard of like the fashion brands Hypercore or Listen Flavor, or any like DJs like Teddy Loid. She's the one that basically helps like bring them out for these conventions. She makes it very easy for them to do. So I'm gonna go ahead and shamelessly plug her. I'm gonna plug her company. Shout out to Fake Star for doing all that they do. Her also being a very big inspiration to what I do for my DJs, as far as sourcing them for other people that do otaku events. So like I said, I've had a relationship with her, and as far as like talking and getting to know her, and her helping me, teaching me like what's best as far as going forward with my brand that she can help me with. And I told her, I want to go ahead and I want to take a risk and try to go the next step and, work with Teddy. And she said she agreed. We got it sorted, and that's where we got it announced. So he's going to be the first. I think he's going to be the first stop as far as his U.S. tour. I think, but he's never performed in Dallas before us, and I'm sure he's very excited. We're very excited to have him. This is going to be definitely a monumental event. I don't think we've actually had a Japanese artist before, so like as far as like this scale. And I know there are a couple of people that are online as well that I follow in different countries, even that are going to be following and trying to check it out to see how it goes. So I'm very, very excited for that. Beyond that event, we also, as far as our after party events go, I know that we are going to be doing another event similar to the Teddy Loid show. We're going to be doing that in December. I can't reveal too much detail on that because we're still building that event. So that's probably good. We're probably going to finish working on that after this weekend of Ecchi Expo. But sometime in December in Dallas, Texas, we're going to be doing another event. So you'll check our socials just to check updates for that. Con related, I think we're going to be at Anime Dallas, but we're just going to be vending. And I believe we're also going to be doing something with Anime Frontier in Fort Worth as well. Anything else that I haven't mentioned, I can't go into too much detail because it still hasn't been either confirmed or announced yet. But yeah, that's pretty much what we have so far.
And I don't really have too much else to ask, but thank you for doing the interview. If there's anything that you want to mention that, you think you want to put out there on top of, plugging your socials and all that stuff, go ahead and do that now, man.
Yeah. I just want to say thank you to everybody who has shown their support for Kaijucore so far and everyone who has expressed interest in this. Like I said, we were established in 2018, and I never thought, as far as even with how consistent that we've been working, I would have never thought that we reached where we are now. Like, I was sitting down doing some analytics the other day in my apartment, and I was like, wow, we've accomplished as much as we have in these last 3 months from July to now as we did in our first year. So just looking at that, really it lifts a burden off of my shoulders of like, okay, I finally understand, like, through consistency and through like proper, networking and proper business etiquette, we can actually make this work. We can actually generate something serious out of this for our community, for our followers that want something like this to keep happening for a very long time. And if anybody else is interested in checking us out, you can find us online under Kaijucore Entertainment. Kaiju as in, monster, Godzilla, and then core as in CORE. And you can just find us on all socials under Kaijucore ENT, no spaces. Yeah.
All right. Thanks a lot, man. And we'll see you guys when we see you.